Well, happy Monday, everybody. It is Prosperity Day. So, wherever you are, in whatever time, space, reality, hey, I hope it is a good one. And I'm just speaking a lot of favor over you. So, nothing missing and nothing broken. That's what we like to say. And favor, hey, man, we all can use more favor. The world needs more favor. Instead of complaining, I guess we ought to just be able to sit back and go, we're going to make a different reality here. Yeah, there I am. So, hey, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it, man. The energy that you bring to the conversation, even if we're not, typing or talking, we're, yeah, I mean, it's really happening. For instance, I can be thinking a very pleasant thought like, greetings, welcome. And I can just sit here and go, "Mhm." Well, when I said the word, it manifested the reality within the thought realm, right? So what's up, folks? Lady Ellie, how are you? Good to see you, Scotty boy and Papa. Good to see you, Crystal, man. David Barry, how you been, brother? D, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, man. I see that Mike P is in the room. How are you doing? Good to see you. Kaz, if you're listening, send Kaz a lot of positive thought. She's striking it out. She said, I had enough of it. Life is short as it is. I tend to think that maybe this is death. I know that, there's that whole body thing going, but hey, if we're only here less than 100 years in the annals of time, space, I mean, we really are getting well, I guess it depends how you look at it. The short end of the stick, I don't know. Esley, what's up, brother? Good to see you, Deborah. Mr. C, Linda Espinoza, how are you? Jules, good to see you. Chloe, much love to you. And Gary Baxter, what's up? Joyce, man, so many people piling in. Much love to all of you. But anyway, it's a short period of time. Yeah. Reality. Remember this, Yahweh is coming back. There was the Noah's Ark, then the Ark of the Covenant, and now the time arc. I don't know. I mean, if the guy was really like the smartest dude in, the universe, reality, wow. Just me saying, and I am by no means, claiming to be that intelligent, but boy, an ant knows how to build things from a construction way that we haven't even begun to grasp. Just saying. So, yeah, said favor to us all. Noah's Ark. As we have studied, it's amazing how one group, one ideology will lay claim to it. That's the story. That's the way it's always been. You can't alter it. It can't be changed. Well, what about this document? That document is irrelevant. It's what our document says that makes it reality. But the other, we don't want to hear it. Don't even mention it. Doesn't enter into our reality. Yeah, two realities. Maybe it's more. I don't know. Some crazy stuff. That's all I got to say. Troublesome, what's up? Deborah Sloan, go. How are you doing all the way from Croatia? Good to see you. Jeanette, how are you? Pengree D. Man, Terry, good to see you. A lot of people in. Thanks for stopping in. So, how many of you know that, like your gut, your stomach, because of the diet that we have as a culture, it's really jacked with the process that we were given. And really, the stomach is this energy converter, right? You put in mass, and from the mass that's broken down into alchemical, and then, energy is created. And it's amazing how it then feeds this trillion cell network. Quite fascinating, but digress from the point. But your gut. So the vast majority of people, their guts, their stomachs are not doing what they were designed to do. That is, extract those alchemicals that comes from a variety of different sources, breaks that down, and then supplies the food chain in your body what it needs. The thing about it is, with the diet now being heavily in sugar, salt, and heavily processed. I mean, hell, they got processed food. And so our guts are like, and there's so many extenuating problems that are derived from having a bad gut. So you can actually get enzymes now, and it's this process you go through, and it will begin to build healthy bacteria that, builds these enzymes for. And then, of course, you have to put in the good stuff, as much as you can, so it can take advantage of this. But to get there's like this, I don't know, this 3 days of holy crap, because that's what it is, man. And your bowels are all up in an uproar, and it's just, yeah, who'd have thought? So, hey, for what it's worth, if you can, hey, Jenny, good to see you. Nina, how are you, darling? Good to see you as well. John Price is in the room, and Regina, hello. Creating a homestead in Colorado. Oh, I haven't seen you before. Good to see you. But anyway, yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's a process that has to be followed every day. If you break it, then it's kind of like you almost have to go back to square 3 or 4, and yeah, but wow. And I'm sure none of you have any of these challenges, but the problem we have today, because of all these GMOs and the processed foods, when you go through a restaurant, a drive-through, you have to really ask yourself, really fast food, think about what it's saying, fast food, and you can deduct from there. But the thing that is affecting a lot of people in the Western world, i.e., I speak primarily the United States, we see it everywhere, is this insulin-resistant fat. Now, you don't have to be diabetic to have insulin-resistant fat. And it's the kind of fat that our bodies, number one, it was never meant to be there. The bodies were never meant to carry that. And what happens is that the body just simply breaks down and says, can't deal with it, man. No. And, kind of steps back and just watches this build out. And next thing you know, you go, what the hell happened to the body, man? There you go. What's that? Jenny, how are you, my dear? Good to see you. That's right, Jenny. Yeah, you can't do fast food. That's what I'm talking about. That processed stuff, man. And your colon, I mean, it's amazing what happens is that, it starts building up on the walls, this, the funkiness. Because again, By the time that stuff gets down to that end, oh man, it's a freaking train wreck. That's all I got to say. Hey, Mary Wins, good to see you, my dear. Jenny says red light therapy frequency can break down the unhealthy. Okay, that's cool. So, yeah, there you go. Missed y'all on Friday, but Friday was a painting day. Yeah, getting a great tan, man. That's all I got to say. It's like, wow, yeah. Haven't even been to the beach. But, there's so much work to do outside. Loving it, but yeah, it's far out. But Chris, what's up? Good to see you as well. Good to see you, JK. So, Grace, what's happening? Good to see you. Good morning back to you as well. And the parasite thing, yeah. I mean, we don't think about this kind of stuff, but yeah, parasites. And if they can exist in this microscopic area, and sometimes they're bigger than that, yeah. I often think about the spiritual parasites, the vampires. They're a parasite. And Mr. Smith told Morpheus in the true story of humanity, the Matrix, that humans are nothing more than a virus. Wherever we go, we alter the DNA completely, landscape, atmosphere. Yeah. Then we think we're gods, and then we begin to mess with something that we have no freaking idea really about, how this thing really works. Why is it put to here? I mean, geneticists are baffled. Thousands of different hypotheses, but, not only do we got this DNA thing that appears to have been intelligently designed, and you got this crazy thing called the mitochondrial DNA. And that's even more mind-blowing. So what's all the information? I mean, think about it. And then I think about this, that, well, then if I'm born and I'm carrying this code, I got codes upon codes upon codes. I got no idea what the codes are coding, but you and I carry it. So does a spirit have DNA? Is a soul DNA? Does a soul carry in the afterlife DNA? I mean, does this code only exist when it's in the physical realm? No. Then you got that whole blood thing, just throwing it out there. Gaia, how you doing? Questions I ask myself. Because again, we are living different realities. I have a story I'll share, and it became so freaking. Have you ever been like, in a crowd situation, and there's people doing a lot of mixed energy and what have you, and you have these episodic episodes where you can. I was literally like stepped out of my. I could have said my body, but my consciousness seemed to be looking down at the situation and going, that reality is not close to mine. And I'm sure mine isn't close to theirs or that one. Weird. So, Shadowfile, what's up? Good to see you. It just looks physical, but is it really fake? I don't know. I want to know, is it Memorex or what? And listen, on this channel, it's in the archives. By the way, I'll be coming up. I am reaching about, and I got to get the correct number, about 4,800 podcast radio shows, etc. Yeah. When that gets closer, we'll say whoopee and then move on. So I was looking, and I like the occult. It just means hidden knowledge. I found out enough already going, and that's the thing, man. I mean, it's like, once you know this shit, you can't separate yourself from it. And you start looking at it as an observer to the interactions with other souls, and you go, wow, there really is two different realities going on here. So anyway, I was drawn to, I like cards, decks. This one is called Wild Mystic. It's a cool deck. This was drawn to it, so I got it. Glad I did, because so I got this thing, and I'm kind of studying it and energizing the cards, and we got to do this again. Remember, we used to do the tarot thing? I think we should do it again. Bring the oracle cards in here. But this is like, really cool. And I love the design on it. It's just far out stuff. So I've been working with it. So the first card I pulled up was just that card right there, the victory card. And it got interesting from there. Really like this deck. I mean, so anyway, my point to all this is, and if you like them, hey, I think they're out there. Get them. Cool deck, though. We'll have to do this again, like I said. So, nature. I have a chance to really be where nature is. I mean, where we live, there's a lot of raw forested land. And we're so fortunate. We see so much wildlife. And because, with the deck, we're elevated, we can see a lot. And if you're quiet and observant, I mean, it's everywhere. So I do a lot of meditating out there. And so the first thing I saw was really interesting, is that saw a deer. Now, this deer was, it was a good distance out there, but it was on our property. And if you didn't know how to spot this deer, you wouldn't be able to see it with all the vegetation and the greenery and the blending. I mean, it was quite interesting. And here's what really got me, because I'm really meditating, and I'm just in awe of seeing this intelligent creature. And as it blended into this grass, it came into a point where I could see its eye, and it was a spike buck. It was growing horns, but it turned its head, and I could see its eye, and it could see. I knew it saw me, and I just spoke, peace over it. Told the deer that it will never be harmed here. You're welcome here. Spoke favor over him, and that deer never got twitchy or anything else. Kind of just did its head like this, and just began again to walk into the edge of the woods. So And I thought that was pretty cool. Nature speaks to us all the time, right? And if you're out in an environment where nature can speak to you in many different ways, that's pretty cool too. So anyway, then yesterday evening, which is also, by the way, was very interesting, was that we had a cold front come through. And so I think it was Thursday night, it was warm. I mean, like really warm. And there was a cacophony of frogs. I mean, we got bullfrogs, got tree frogs. I mean, and at nighttime, it's a symphony out there. So I'm out there, and because we got, plants growing and everything. And as I'm watering, I stop, and this hawk comes in. Beautiful hawk. I mean, they're a large bird. I mean, they stand about 20 inches. And what was so interesting is that this hawk came down and was on a low branch. And then it did something that I hadn't seen a hawk do. It actually went down on the ground, and there's a little creek. Mary Winds, you will know this. There's water on our property, but and then the next thing I know, it kind of just simply jumped and flew into the canopy. Now I told all that, so I went into this book, and here's the book. It's in, and the thing that said about seeing the deer is that it represents kindness and understanding. The deer is often associated with innocence and purity, inspiring. In Greek mythology, Hercules' son Telephus was abandoned, and then a deer took care of him. It represents the friendship and sweetness and unconditional generosity. It says the card heralds its positive social interactions, new friendship, urges openness to clarity and charity, and to find kindness of other people in them. I like that. It's a good card. And it's what they say is a kind of a light card. And then the hawk represents that a goal. It's a predatory creature known for its keen eyesight, revered for its swift, decisive aerial action. And they are quite beautiful. It's amazing how they can manipulate that unseen realm of the air. I said the Celtics associated the bird with foresight and acuity. The card symbolizes a chase or a hunt with a fixation on a specific target. It is the pursuit of a goal or outcome with a streamlined sniper-like focus. It says the card communicates to you that you will find what you are looking for, something that you may have thought was once lost. It is a symbol of success, of a successful hunt for something that has long eluded you or that you thought you could never achieve. So if you're using this reading to decide on a new course of life, this might be to go out and try something new. Kaz, I think of you. So anyway, all that for whatever. I know it had nothing to do with anything, but actually it did. It had something to do with me. I mean, there you go. It's nature's way, right? It's nature's way of receiving you. So, so many things going on. I like to wear things that sometimes that invoke thought, cause people to think. Go, what's up? How important is intuition for reading cards? I would say it was probably the main ingredients. Jenny, Nina, wouldn't you say as well? I mean, I think so. Hey, Suzanne, what's up? Good to see you. Jargo, Lost in Space, what's good to see you. As Nina said, very important. I think it's right. James Bright, what's up? Good to see you as well. Yeah, it's Nate. I mean, and now I'm thinking to myself that, if I wasn't out here to experience this, I mean, that's this favor. I got the message a couple of weeks ago that I needed to pay more attention to nature, the nature that I'm immersed into, and I took it to heart. And there is such wisdom within that. I mean, when you see a deer that looks back at you, and I recognize that, I don't care what other people say, that's a living creature. It has a soul. We've captured on cameras where, unfortunately, deer have been hit by a car, and you could see it tried to get up and then it died. And then you actually see, which appears to be the deer in a more ethereal form, get up and kind of shake itself, and off it went. I'm telling you, they didn't tell us the truth about death, man. And I'm like I said, I'm convinced that this is the death realm. I mean, the definition of life is what? Living? I mean, we've read in enough of the ancient scripts that say that these bodies were designed to be self-healing. They were designed to last us for thousands of years. And we got screwed, man. We're so they went and jacked with our DNA, and now, hell, we shouldn't be growing old. That shouldn't be happening. I think that the body was designed that it could slowly adapt. The other thing that pisses me off about that is that we got screwed another way. I mean, if you only have X amount of days, I'll just use 30,000 days. If you've got 30,000 days on Earth, then, or in this realm, I should be more accurate. So let's say you live your full 30,000 days. You're 100 years old. No, you're not. No. 30,000 days would be about 90. Yeah. But the average lifespan is less than that. They now say it's, for women, 78 something years. And for men, it's down now to 77, 76. That sucks. So we don't even have 100,000 days. I mean, and then you think about the wisdom you would gain. I mean, if you live 30,000 days and someone only lived, let's say, 21,000 days, would you be a wiser soul because you lived longer, you experienced more, you should have gained more? Because the one that only, let's say, 21,000 days got cut short. My whole point to this is that as a species, they screwed us, man. They say in the ancient writings, and each religion is adaptive to it, that, hey, there was a time when we lived to be almost 1,000 years old. Wow, we got really fucked. I mean, someone came in and just screwed us over. Imagine even if you lived 1,000 years, right? And now today, we don't even live 100 years. So follow my logic on this. So if that was man, now was that Homo sapien? this pre-Adamic race that had this longevity, were they sapiens? I don't know. But let's just say that the story's true. So if you look at it today, this realm slaughters, well, how can you say this? Babies, toddlers. I mean, 70 would be equivalent to about a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. Think about that. I mean, I don't know about you, but when you look back in your youth, that means that, you could spend like 100 years in what we would perceive to be the prime of life, the peak. We wouldn't hit that until hell way down the road. So anyway, we got screwed, man. And the wisdom. I think about this all the time. So if a person has greater wisdom, knowledge than another, how does that sort out on the other side? Are you of the belief that you think that you become all-knowing when you pass over, you transcend, when you die, or when you're born? Depends on your perspective. Do you think you're going to be all-knowing? Do you think you're going to have the answers to the universe? I don't think so. I don't. I think for a lot, they're just scared shitless. Oh, you mean I'm dead? Well, now what do I do? We had this conversation that I'm going to get to where someone said, well, I'm so looking forward to heaven. And I had to open my mouth and I said, well, what are you going to do there? Excuse me? Well, I'm just asking, what are you going to do when you get to heaven? Well, I'm going to be with my Lord. I said, and then what? I said, is it going to be you and a couple million others? I said, man, that'd get pretty tiring. I don't have to really to think about this because it's all been taken care of for me. And I said, did you read the fine print of the contract? That's where I lost her. Wanted no more to do with the conversation. It just simply moved on. Yeah. So we were at an event that we didn't even know was there. We were actually going to go out to eat. And there was this car show, kind of cool thing, I like to wear sometimes shirts that provoke thought. And the one I wore, you've seen me wear it here, is that polytheism, why have only one imaginary friend? That gets sometimes, in this case, I heard a couple, as we were looking at these cars, and she said, I don't know if it was, I think it was the dude's wife. She's, and you could see it. She's, what's polytheism? And we were close enough to where he said, I'm not really sure. And I said, well, it's like believing in Christianity. Turned her head over, and they were actually very interesting to talk with, because it was like, what do you mean? I said, well, we're taught to believe that we're a monotheistic belief system. In other words, there's only one God. And they said, well, yeah. I said, but it's not true. I said, the Bible is a polytheistic structure. I mean, you think it's one, but actually what you find out that it's many. Huh. That's interesting. And I said, so I said, it's like this. I said, we seem to believe in our money. I said, it says, in God we trust. And the guy says, yeah. And I said, but which God? Hey, Gilbert, what's up, brother? And that's when like I said, I think it was the guy's wife. And she said, who are you? That's exactly what she said. Who are you? And I just simply said, well, I have a different perspective. I said, this thing we call reality is an illusion. And and then it got their attention. And anyway, we ended up having an interesting conversation because it was very clear that, where belief systems are, wow, I was not in their reality and they could not fathom my reality. I got into the story about the United States, and I said, this God. I said, which God do you think it's talking of? And they both of them said at the same time, well, it's the God of the Bible. And I said, well, which God is that? And they really didn't know. They didn't understand. I said, if it's Yahweh, they'd never even heard of Yahweh. I said, that is not God. And they are confused by that. And I said, so who is the Father? And this woman said again, she says, who are you? And I said, well, I said, it's just a conversation with the t-shirt. And anyway, he was asking questions. He said, I have never stopped and thought about this. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, the Father isn't in Judaism, isn't in ancient Hebraic belief systems. And I said, but if you take the original Hebrews, I said, they kind of borrowed gods here and there. And, we got in, I touched briefly on the whole Sumerian thing. And I said, but I don't know who Father is. I don't know who the Father is. And I said, but if God is the God of the Old Testament that you're making, I said, then we're a nation of war. And that's where he got really quiet. It was interesting. So bringing up the point, I've been thinking about who's in charge of all this. Somebody's in charge. Something's in charge. And when we talk about the perceptions of reality, how different. Ballot Brandon, got your email, brother. He's in Switzerland, and I believe he will be in the Vatican today. I think for the next 3 days, he will be in Rome. And we live in and many of you have seen this, but it is really interesting. So I want to bring up something in this conversation that I want you to make. So this is, by the way, the House of Representatives. This is where the Speaker of the House sits, flanked by 2 witnesses. These are the scrolls. This is a sanctuary. This is a temple. That's what it is. We give homage to this entity that occupies this realm. And if you know how the Capitol is laid out, on the other side of the Capitol Rotunda is where the Senate is. Now, the Senate is even cloaked in more mysticism and occultism. Deep shit going on here. My point to all of this is to keep into mind. I want you to keep this picture, because there's something amiss here. Literally. And I'm going to be talking about, give me 1 second here as I go over here. So we have this reality that we live in a nation that is dedicated to God, the morals, our laws, integrity, character, virtues, all of these are wrapped in this. This is, again, the Catholic Church, been the predominant thought being. Now, I think the real question is to who and what God are they talking about? Someone over the last couple of days challenged me and said, they couldn't accept this. Because any way you look at it, Protestantism is just an extension of Catholicism. It's an ism. Oops. And if it's an ism, then, it's a belief system. It's a thought system. And so we've talked about this before, that Lucifer is prayed to. In this particular prayer, it is praying to Lucifer, speaking to him in very much what you would say in the book of Revelation, Daniel, however you want to frame it. The morning come, and he, I say, O Lucifer, who does not know the going down thereof. In other words, Lucifer has never lowered itself to a lower standard, meaning physical body. It says, Christ thy Son, who returning from the grave human race shed his peaceful light, and now lives and reigns forever end. Amen. Okay. This is one of those things that, and so Brandon, I know you're going to be listening to this later on. So what he's going to be able to see, and this is that prayer, it's a big deal. Now, the implications is that then we got two different gods at play here. I don't want to believe in either one of them, quite frankly, because the whole thing about Lucifer, about God or who Yahweh or whatever the fuck his name is, I don't know. The El Shaddai. I could go on. There's Jehovah Jireh. Yada yada yada. Because this is like being trapped in a 3-card monte game. You're going to lose no matter what. So if Lucifer is the God, then what God is being worshiped here? I don't think it's Lucifer. I've said that the members of Congress are all Satanists by their own definition, not mine. So this is what Brandon will be able to see. This is the People's Reception Hall. The Pope's people are in there. It is on the outside. So, and it's in this conversation I had as well. I brought these points up. And, of course, everyone has their smartphone. And so, they're meeting and look at it and they go and they pull up the images and they go, wow, didn't know that shit was going on. And then you got this scene. But still, no matter how many times I talk on this one is weird. Because if you look at this and the lighting, can you imagine? Your only job is to light the place, right? Well, I think we need to set a motif that will get them into the flow of the energy. So let's make this look like it scales. Yeah. Because when you're out there worshiping God, that's what you want to look at is either the belly of or the head of. I don't know which interpretation you would take. But all this stuff, I mean, it goes on and on. And here's that dual reality. I mean, what is it? Is it truly this reptilian thing? I mean, and the sculptor who put this together, I mean, where that person was in a place that he was walking amongst those of another kind. So anyway, so who is the United States worshiping? I mean, we claim here that we're a Christian nation, but if you look at Christianity now, I'm really confused. And it just gets more into this crap. I mean, this is occultism. No. This is advanced occultism because it's encased in what this seems to be a somehow holy thought, a religion. But it's got more stuff onto it. And anyway, I mean, it's just the pine cone. We've all talked about this. So my whole point to all this, and there is a point, because it really makes one ask, well, then what's going on? Now, I want to give a different spin on something that has brought a lot of division to this country, and that was the whole January 6th thing. I mean, I'm so far removed from the politics. I wasn't even aware of what this thing. Anyway, what happened there was interesting because everything that happens in the physical has a direct representation and correlation into this upper realm. And we live in a reality within a reality. Artists have seen it. It's the picture of the guy pulling up this reality, and lo and behold, there's another reality. Now, I look at things in a way because everything that happens with us seems to be associated with blood. If you look at the Elohim, if you want to look at Jehovah, you want to look at Yahweh, it's always blood. It's always a blood sacrifice. Always. Then you get this new set of deities in, and they got the blood thing going on too. I've said this many times. The thing that freaked me out still, I mean, it's just kind of like that funk, you can't you want to get that smell off of you. And that was the communion thing. I mean, I look at it now in aghast horror. And I completely thought it was normal. Well, it's symbolically. Yeah, don't tell me about symbols. We know about symbols here. And symbology is powerful magic. I mean, this is why I said all of us who emerged out of that system, I mean, you have a diploma. Your diploma is that you passed the initiation. Now you need to become an inept and inept. Yeah, inept about that thought. I mean, but it's so true. I mean, I think about it all the time. I drink this blood. I eat this flesh. I mean, it's just, it's weird. So anyway, and I this is where I'm at, where I think in the occult is it. Well, let me say, I don't know if study of Lucifer, Satan, the demons, it's occultish. But here's my problem. I'm coming into this. Something's wrong here. I mean, we've got this play that never ends. And I can't help but not think. I was meditating Saturday and just doing the communion and the with the sun and the elementals, just really digging it. It's a beautiful feeling. And I'm thinking here, I mean, if this is the role of these beings, it means that they've stopped advancing. They stopped evolving. Now, if something stops evolving, it dies. Stagnation sets in. And so I look at all this and the whole thing with the angel worship and the demons. I mean, it's not that old. It seems like it's old, but it's not that old. And I'm going, but something. And the oddest thing was the name Modius came into my thought. And it was the interesting thing, because I do believe Modius is one of the chieftains. But I heard this reaffirming thought, yeah, we're more than this. But yet it defines the reality that I live amongst where virtually everyone believes in Jesus. Everybody. But not one of those people who believe in Jesus have ever heard of anyone called Vespasian. They've never even heard of Philo of Alexandria. Some kind of recall something about a Josephus, but don't have a fucking clue beyond that. So it really does. And in particular, you would, here I'd be considered an out and out, devil worshiper, which is the furthest thing from the truth. Because here's the point. If these beings are these beings, the problem is then how is such intelligence represented by stagnation? Even if you're in a realm where time, space doesn't exist, you would have to have some reference to that time because you're interacting within this realm. And this realm and the fourth dimension is time. So it means that the invention of Satan, Lucifer, the demons, the angels, they're stuck in time. And how does intelligence, higher intelligence, represent that? Isn't that the lessons that we're supposed to be here? I mean, imagine if you lived 1,000 years and your whole 1,000 years, you never figured out anything. It was a complete waste. So I'm thinking to myself, why? How can this exist? But it defines the reality that I'm in. Because I don't believe that this realm is what it's been saying to me. Jeanette says, time trap. Yeah. By the way, Shirley, I forgot to mention, I believe you have a granddaughter. Is that right? I want to make sure I had a list here. And yeah, so forgive me. I wanted to say that at the beginning. But I look over and it's almost time's up. I mean, when we get together on Wednesday on the whole thing on demonology, I have some really dark books, and here's my thing on this. I've never seen Lucifer, never, ever written ever recorded. I've never seen Satan or the devil require one drop of blood from a human. Now, they've invented the whole ritualistic thing, and if people bring in that blood thing, I don't believe that was anything of these beings' nature. I think that was humans that did that. Because if these beings exist and they've witnessed time, and if they truly are interdimensional, multidimensional, why would they waste their time in something like this? I mean, I'm just sharing my thoughts. I mean, thank you for hitting the like button, by the way, but I'm just trying to figure this thing out. I know that there is, I'm telling you, there are beings that are above this. In my spirit mind, I see this concave, and it's almost like you would almost call like lucite. And there is something above that, folks. There is something above that. And not that it's, listen, everyone has a right to choose how they want to worship or how they want to give thanks or appreciation to whatever deity they desire to. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's cool. Relationships, I mean, in aspects are very much like that. But I don't know. I look at the condition that we see today, and it's not advanced anything. And something happened. I mean, there was blood spilt on that particular day. And I'm telling you, something in the spirit realm happened as well that day. I mean, when you bring blood into a temple, it's serious stuff. I mean, I know enough of covenants, blood covenants. I think one of the best teachings series of that I ever heard was Rick Shelton. It was my pastor way back. It was also Joyce Meyer's pastor, but he did a fabulous teaching on the blood covenant. And it is so much more detailed. I got the real sense that, when you bring blood into a contract on a spiritual level, it's of the nature of the essence of what we bring. We bring living blood. And there is such a heavy significance that the fact that we carry within us living blood, it's powerful. If you use blood in your spell work, it's extremely powerful. So I keep on thinking, did something come into this realm? Because it's been total chaos. Everything is upside down. Oh no, it sounds to me like some pretty heavy spell work. I'm just saying for a friend. David Berry, much love back to you, brother. We've missed you. Thanks for the entertainment. Well, always happy to be of service. Anyway. See, I don't believe it in what we're being shown on the stage. No, the real play is taking place backstage. And it's nuts. I'm telling you, we can do better than this. I mean, we're a smart race. We really are. I know at times that we look like we're a bunch of neophytes, but hey, we've been so abused, so used, so attacked as a species that it makes perfect sense that we're like we are. You can't abuse a soul, a spirit, over and over and over again and not think that it's going to have ramifications. I keep saying, just leave us alone. Hey, if we destroy ourselves, fine, but it was us. Quit screwing with us. Why does God want worshipers anyway? I asked that question, and no one can give me an answer. And I'm speaking of what we were at over the weekend. Why would a God want worshipers? Like the woman that was wanting to go to heaven. Well, I'm going to be with my Lord. Okay, then what? Are you just going to be fat and lazy? Are you going to be completely useless? No, sister, you better read the contract. I bet your ass has got a job waiting for you. And it ain't nothing like playing a harp on a cloud. That's all I got to say. All right. Well, thank you for the free thought today. Tomorrow I'll be on with Miss Trina and Miss Jenny. And then Wednesday, got Nina and JD. So, yeah. Crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's just nuts. I go, if they just left us alone, imagine where we'd be at. All right. I do believe there's a brighter day, but holy crap, it's getting there, right? All right, folks. Queen of Courts, good to see you. How are you? So take Stephen Still's advice. If you can't be with the one you want, then love the one you're with. There you go. So if we can't have our ideal reality, maybe our love can change this reality. Just saying. All right. Love everybody. That's what I am. See, when I think of love, there's Jenny. There you go. Let us be. Yeah, Jenny. That's what I'm saying. That's all I got to say. And smile. Laughter doeth the heart as a good medicine. Many, many testimonies of people who had, basically death sentences because of a ailment, and they laughed their way back to health. So let's just share a little love, share a little joy. That's what I'm talking about. And if you got them, pass them around. Share. That's the good thing. A buzz is, if you keep it just to yourself, and a buzz can be anything, man. I'm just saying, little joy, little love. If you keep it to yourself, then no one gets buzzed. So pass it around, let everyone get a buzz on. And I tell you what, we can make some magic happen. Yeah, no shit. We really can. We can do powerful stuff, man. All right. So good to see everyone. So much love to you. Till we meet tomorrow, right? Well, actually Tuesday.